I was telling you earlier about there was a little girl that they had present that talked about the fact that her father had voted for Trump and that her mother was an undocumented alien, so had to go back and ended up getting deported by
Mhm.
Trump and his team, and that her mom was her best friend and she missed her mom, and it was just a very touching piece that she did.
Tell me when I should start reading. Dear Donald Trump, my name is Estella. I am 11 years old. My mom is my best friend. She came to America as a teenager over 20 years ago without papers in search of a better life. She married my dad, who served our country as a Marine in South America, Africa, and Iraq. My mom worked hard and paid taxes, and the Obama administration told her she could stay. My dad thought you would protect military families, so he voted for you in 2016, Mr. President. He says he won't vote for you again after what you did to our family.
The wife of a U.S. Marine veteran was deported to Mexico.
Instead of protecting us, you tore our world apart.
My mom is a good person, and she's not a criminal.
Now, my mom is gone, and she's been taken from us for no reason at all. Every day that passes, you deport more moms and dads and take them away from kids like me.
We will begin moving them out day one.
You separated thousands of children from their parents and you put them in cages. Some of those kids are now orphans because of you.
These are our people. I don't want them in our country. They're animals.
Mr. President, my mom is the wife of a proud American Marine and a mother of 2 American children. We are American families. We need a president who will bring people together, not tear them apart. Sincerely, Estella.
Then last night there was a boy that had Braden. I
Oh,
cannot remember his last name,
last
but
I don't either. But
anyway,
yeah.
he had a stuttering problem. He was 13 years old, and he went into depth. He only talked for 2 minutes, and it was some of the most
Yeah.
effective communicating I've seen.
Right.
And
Right.
this was from a kid who stutters. He's got a stuttering issue, and he said that Biden, who of course himself had had a stuttering issue and has talked about that in the past, had tried to sit down and help him by sharing some of the poetry that he would read that would help him by Yeats.
Mhm.
And he specifically mentioned that poetry. He said that he'd helped him to show him how he goes through his speeches and marks them up so that they're easier for him to be able to say. And the little boy turned around his paper and showed that he'd marked it up in the same way that Biden had
Exactly.
shown him.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
demonstrating us that. So in 2 minutes, he demonstrated the way that a couple things he learned from Joe and was able
Mhm.
to show us one of the things on his paper in that much amount of
Right.
time and navigated through his whole speech and still stuttered on part of it, but really did a fantastic job and really showed us the heart of in a meaningful way of Joe Biden. And I thought that was really an effective moment for that.
I want to introduce you now to a young man who Vice President Biden met earlier this year in New Hampshire and helped to find his voice. Say hello to Braden Harrington.
Hi, my name is Braden Harrington, and I'm 13 years old. And without Joe Biden, I wouldn't be talking to you today. About a few months ago, I met him in New Hampshire. He told me that we were members of the same club. We stutter. It was really amazing to hear that someone like me became vice president. He told me about a book of poems by Yeats he would read out loud to practice. He showed me how he marks his addresses to make them easier to say out loud. So I did the same thing today. And now I'm here talking to you today about the future, about our future. My family often says when the world feels better before talking about something normal, like going to the movies. We all want the world to feel better. We need the world to feel better. I'm just a regular kid, and in a short amount of time, Joe Biden made me more confident about something that's bothered me my whole life. Joe Biden cared. Imagine what he could do for all of us. Kids like me are counting on you to elect someone we can all look up to. Someone who cares. Someone who will make our country and the world feel better. We're counting on you to elect Joe Biden.
And then also the person that was the conductor on Amtrak, the train that he was on for years, had
Oh,
what
right.
to say about him, and just how caring he was and how he remembered them and all these things. And
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of somebody who does as much phone calling as he does to people, as much caring for people, and just reaching out to them and being able to share parts of himself that are deep and meaningful.
Sure.
I think it's delightful and really impressive that he can do that.
You know, it was mostly small talk when we first met. When I would collect his ticket, and time went on, I learned more and more about him as our friendship grew. I think he's most comfortable around everyday working class people. It just always makes you feel like you belong.
For more than 30 years, Joe Biden took the train to work. As a single dad, he promised to be home to kiss the boys every night and then make them breakfast in the morning.
When he got on the train, everyone seemed equal to him. He had time for everybody.
Joe was a regular. He bought rounds of coffee for fellow passengers and crew, and he got to know the people he traveled with.
These guys broke their necks. They're always rocking, keeping their balance, collecting tickets, help people with their bags that are heavy as hell. And they're doing this for hours. And we became really good friends.
He was very interested in my life, my children. As time went on, my grandchildren. People don't do that today. People don't even take time out to say hello or nod their head to the average working person. They looked at us like we were important people.
He would treat the conductor the same as he would the President of the United States. That is what Dad taught us, that everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
After Joe became vice president, he cut down on his commute, but he kept in touch. When Greg Weaver had a heart attack, he got a phone call.
I was in a barber shop in New York City, and the phone rings. And sure enough, it was Vice President Biden asking me how I'm doing. He wanted to know the whole story. It's kind of funny that you're talking to the Vice President of the United States, but if I would have told the people in the barber shop, I don't think they would have believed me. I'm not saying it like it was me and I was anything special. Everybody was special to him. We have heroes all over this country, and a lot of the essential workers out there that we don't even see, that are behind the scenes. They're keeping this country going. He understands that. The average guy is important to him. The average guy is important to him.
I think so too, and I appreciated how many stories there were that obviously you don't have to agree with him, but I would think that people that don't like his politics would agree that he seems to be an extraordinarily compassionate person. He seems to genuinely care about people. And,
well, they had the person that introduced him was like the elevator operator
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
that he met, and then they just had conversations and
Right.
this elevator and became connected.
I take powerful people up on my elevator all the time. When they get off, they go to their important meetings. Me, I just head back to the lobby. But in the short time I spent with Joe Biden, I could tell he really saw me, that he actually cared, that my life meant something to him. And I knew, even when he went into his important meeting, he'd take my story in there with him. That's because Joe Biden has room in his heart for more than just himself. We've been through a lot, and we have tough days ahead. But nominating someone like that to be in the White House is a good place to start. That's why I nominate my friend, Joe Biden, as the next president of the United States.